The tradition of folklore, folk tales, jokes, legends, and the like, in the Turkish language is very rich, and is incorporated into everyday life and events. Turkish folklore. Nasreddin Hoca. Perhaps the most popular figure in the tradition is Nasreddin, who is the central character of thousands of jokes. He generally appears as a person who, though seeming somewhat stupid to those who must deal with him, actually proves to have a special wisdom all his own. One day, Nasreddin's neighbor asked him, "Teacher, do you have any 40-year-old vinegar?" "Yes, I do," answered Nasreddin. "Can I have some?" asked the neighbor. "I need some to make an ointment with." "No, you can't have any," answered Nasreddin. "If I gave my 40-year-old vinegar to whoever wanted some, I wouldn't have had it for 40 years, would I?" Similar to the Nasreddin jokes, and arising from a similar religious milieu, are the Bektashi jokes, in which the members of the Bektashi religious order, represented through a character simply named Bektazi, are depicted as having an unusual and unorthodox wisdom, one that often challenges the values of Islam and of society. Karagoth v. Hasavat. Another popular element of Turkish folklore is the shadow theatre centered around the two characters of Karagoth and Hasavat, who both represent stock characters. Karagoth, who hails from a small village, is something of a country bumpkin, while Hasavat is a more sophisticated city dweller. Popular legend has it that the two characters are actually based on two real persons who worked for Osman I, the founder of the Ottoman dynasty, in the construction of his palace at Bursa in the early 14th century CE. The two workers supposedly spent much of their time entertaining the other workers, and were so funny and popular that they interfered with work on the palace, and were subsequently put to death. Yunus Emre Koroglu. Folklore from the Black Sea region. Vine breaking. In Karsabasi town, near Trabzon, there is a way of testing whether a marriage is propitious. When the new bride enters the house, she is asked to break a vine into 3 pieces, which are then planted in the ground. If they sprout, this means the marriage will be successful. Cutting the shoelace. In the eastern Black Sea region, it is believed that there is an invisible lace between the feet of those children who have trouble walking when they're young. A lace is tied between the feet of a child, and the lace is cut by the elder child of family or the first to leave the mosque after Friday prayer. It is believed that once the invisible lace has been cut, the child will walk. Passing beneath a blackberry tree. In Turkish folklore, childless women, cows that don't get pregnant, and children wetting their beds are supposedly cured by passing under a blackberry bush known as avit. Avit is believed to be a charm herb of paradise, shown to the moon in Trabzon and Rize region folklore. Desperate patients with incurable diseases are said to have been shown to the moon on a wooden shovel. "If that continues, I will put you on a shovel and show you to the moon." 1. V. To ensure a bridegroom is bewitched and impotent so as to be unable to have sexual intercourse with bride, there are several ways of being tied. A person who wants to impede this marriage blows into a knot, knots it and puts it on the bride, or uses other sorceries. However, it is also deemed a way of being tied if the bride nails, knots or locks a door with a key before the marriage. While going to the house of the bridegroom, way is always changed and the unlooked-for ways are followed to be saved from tie sorceries that could have been buried in the way. 2. N. To tie the animals such as wolves and bears that harm the flock, and named monster, and swine that damages the crop. Generally, an amulet is prepared by a hodja and buried in the places where the flock grazes or in the corner of sown field. 3. N. To increase the amount and quality of meadow before the hay-making time. Water is brought to the meadows in the plateaus in thin directions from rivers by the arcs. This process is called as to connect water. Tree worship. In Trabzon folklore, the swinging of tree branches and leaves symbolized worship. It is believed that oak trees do not worship God because their leaves do not swing as much as those of other trees. Zacchaeus of Ket says that Akkabat society believed in an idol and worshipped a tree called platana, and that is how the city was given this name. Although the platana was a plain tree, he had confused this tree with the poplar. The words of Lermioglu. Today peasants love trees as their children. There were several events which people kill someone for a tree, and a story from 19th century shows us that this love comes from very old days. A hunter from Mersin village cut a tree called Kragan, which was idol of Akkabat society. Then the peasants called the police and said that the hunter cut the Evliya, Turkish in Arabic Evliya, saint. This event can only be explained with the paganist beliefs comes from Caucasia. At first the police understood that the hunter killed a man called Evliya, but later they saw that the saint was a tree, so they let the hunter go. It was an example of culture that can be seen today, which was mixed with Islam in Trabzon under the name of saint in common before one God religions that people used to believe in nature. It is possible to see same things in Hamsine region of Rise. The branches are praying 3 days before and during Bayram, so we do not cut live branches during Bayram. The branches are praying. End of winter. Cemre are 3 fireballs that come from the heavens to warm earth at the end of each winter. Each Cemre warms one aspect of the nature. The first Cemre falls to air between February 1920. The second Cemre falls to water between February 26-27. The third Cemre falls to ground between 5 to 6 March. Important figures in Black Sea folklore: Evren, Ariane, Alaturba, Ankama, Kazi, Jermakosi, Kolet. Beings and creatures in Turkish folklore: Albasti, Bardi, a female jackal which can change shape and presages death by wailing. Bird of sorrow, Jew, dragons, Dunganga, giant, Arab or dervish, imp, Kamataj, the moon horse, Karakonkalos, Karakura, a male night demon, Keliglan, bald boy, laughing apple and weeping apple, Peris, seven-headed dragon, storm fiend, Tavara, Sharmerin, the legendary snake king who was killed in an ambush in the baths, Taram Baba, the night demon or nightmare which is believed to kidnap children, in some Balkanized Turks tradition.